Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
What is going on, everyone? A tough loss for the Flyers, but it wasn't as if they played bad or they didn't play good enough. The effort was absolutely there. They dominated the Coyotes, I would say, for about 57 minutes of the 60, right? So they did a really great job. They just couldn't find a way to score when Kuemper was out there making fantastic saves left and right. He stole one for the Coyotes, and guess what? You tip your cap because that's just how it goes sometimes in this league. It's just frustrating because the Flyers have been playing so well as of late, and to grab another win and to grab more points on top of what they've already put together, it would have been insane. But listen, I mean, it happens. If they play this way every single game, they're going to come out with the victory more times than not. It just sucks. It just sucks. So you got to tip your cap. I thought the Coyotes did a fantastic job at playing defense. They took a early lead because of a ticky-tack call on Claude Giroux. They scored on the power play. Phil Kessel drives to the net. They score on Brian Elliott. And really from that moment, it was all Flyers. Pumping Kuemper with shots, entering the zone, having some really good plays. Kevin Hayes wide open in the slot. Morgan Frost had an opportunity. Joel Farabee had a chance. This was all throughout the game, not just the first period, I'm saying. But in general, when you look at how the Flyers played, they generated so many grade A chances, but the goalie robbed them or they missed the net, and it's just how it goes sometimes. It's a shame, but it is reality. Before we dive more into this, I want to let you know about the promo code BROADS that you can use at SeatGeek's checkout page for $20 off of your total purchase. So make sure you use the promo code BROADS today. It's an unfair outcome. The Flyers have been on the other side of that before. That's just how it goes. And I know I keep saying that, but it is reality. Alain Vigneault wasn't upset with how the team performed, and nor should he be. When you look at the Flyers' power play opportunities, that's going to sting a bit. Specifically in the second period, they did have some power play chances to cash in. And we've been really talking about this pretty much all season long, the special teams. Because we're not used to seeing the Flyers special teams unit so good as a whole. But in this game, they weren't good enough. They did not score at all on the power play, and they allowed 2 power play goals. Now, one of those goals, super late in the third period, where Kevin Hayes gets called for a cross-check late, which people are frustrated saying it's soft, but at the end of the day, I mean, I understand completely why the referees would call that. You had Oliver Ekman-Larsson facing the boards. Kevin Hayes gives him a little shot, and I mean, I don't blame the refs for calling him there at all. It is what it is. It was a cross-check. But they did allow 2 power play goals and 4 opportunities. So at the end of the day, you can say special teams costed the Flyers as a whole on both sides, which it has worked out for the Flyers in their favor on the other side normally. What I'm saying is the Flyers have won games throughout the season based off of their special teams being very efficient and very successful. Just not in this one. Rick Tocchet has done a great job with this team, by the way. The Arizona Coyotes have been a laughing stock of the NHL for so many years. He has put together some good structure with this squad, and they picked up Phil Kessel, who is a legit goal scorer, as we all know, as he spent a lot of time in Pittsburgh. And not only that, he was blocking biscuits. He blocked a shot in this game where he was limping as he was going to the net hard to score that first power play goal. So he was even doing the dirty work and being a leader also. You have someone like Clayton Keller, who is a stud in this league, who produces out there as well. So the Coyotes do have some nice pieces. And then you look at Kuemper, who played a phenomenal hockey game. It's just crazy to look at the standings and see the Arizona Coyotes so far up there. One thing that was interesting was when the score was 2-0. So the Coyotes scored early, couple minutes in on that power play goal, and then they scored with about 7 minutes to go in the third, which felt like a damper, really. It was like, oh, man, come on, because the Flyers had so much energy. They were coming in waves. They were throwing the puck on net left and right. They really did have some high chances, some high-scoring chances in the slot and moving the puck back door. Oh, it was smelling like a Flyers goal was coming, and then they poke in the second goal, sadly. But AV pulls Elliott early to get an extra attacker. 2 minutes after it was a 2-0 game, Niskanen throws a biscuit on net. It finds its way through. Voracek and Couturier get points on that goal, and it's 2-1. But as I stated, the Coyotes score a second power play goal eventually and make it 3-1. It was Kessel again. Now, I don't remember if this was when it was 2-1 or 3-1. So I forget if this happened before or after they scored that third goal. But AV pulled Elliott again, and the Flyers had a great chance, wide open, coming down the slot, and did not execute. So I don't remember if that would have tied it or would have made that 3-2. But my point is, AV 2 times pulls his netminder, and the Flyers generate some sort of good look out of that, which, is just something to take as a positive, knowing that this team will not go down without a fight, knowing this team will go the full 60. We saw it when they played Toronto, right? They scored 2 goals after they scored an empty netter, so we knew in that game they played a full 60. Well, they played a full 60 in this one as well. They just came up short at the end of the day. So with no Raffle, the Flyers elect to go with 7D. I really hate that approach. I do. Robert Haig was the defenseman that didn't get as much playing time as some of the others. He got 12 shifts, logged about 8 minutes of playing time, so he got the shorter amount. I don't like the 7D thing. It really mixes up the rotation and who you go out with consistently. And the Rock 11 forwards as well. You're mixing things up all the time. And I know Alain Vigneault does that anyway, so what's the difference? But I don't like the rotation of 11 forwards and 7D. That's just my personal opinion. Speaking of defensemen, though, Shane Gostisbehere is obviously, in my opinion, getting more confidence. He's gaining confidence back. You can see where he makes plays on the walls, where he does the standard Shane Gostisbehere, where he cuts to the middle and then he'll go back down the wall, or cut to the wall and then he'll go back towards the middle. He'll use his edges, he'll use his footwork along the blue line, and he'll make a play with it. When he was going through his funk, I think he was holding his stick too tightly. He was nervous. As soon as it touches his stick, he's getting it off, he's flicking it off. He was nervous to make a play. You're seeing him gain confidence just with the way that he's maneuvering with the puck, and he's not afraid to make an extra play and to make an extra move. It's really nice to see Shane Gostisbehere get some of his flow back and get some of his game back. Hopefully he can continue to ride with that. Now his name is getting thrown out there with some trade speculations. I don't know how legit that is. I think he's playing some good hockey, but maybe the Flyers are realizing, well, hell, maybe there's a chance to move him now because he's starting to get some mojo. This is the time to move on from him. I don't know. I don't know the direction the Flyers are trying to go with Shane Gostisbehere, but I'm enjoying his play. I think he has stepped it up. Let's talk about Morgan Frost, because I think he's starting to slow down a little bit. Now, I didn't expect him to be a goal per game kind of guy, right? He came into the NHL. He scores in his first game. He had that beautiful backhand as he cut to the net. Here's the thing. It's starting to maybe get to him, the speed and whatnot. Normally, as you play more games, you get more comfortable. And trust me, I'm not saying that he can't play at this league, but you're starting to see frustration. I think he's frustrated with himself. Let's go there. Let's describe it like that. Because he had a great chance in the slot, and he just misses completely. And then on the power play, when the Coyotes actually have a player out there with no stick because the stick was broken, that's a chance for the Flyers to really make a play work, to really shove a beautiful play down their throat, really, because you not only are they on the power play, but one of their PKers, they don't have a guy on the ice with a stick. I mean, this is a perfect chance. And he whiffs on a puck when he's on the sidewall. The Coyotes are able to get the puck out of the zone, and they can make a change. That type of moment, that might sound silly and it might sound like I'm nitpicking, but in the NHL, that's a chance where these players start drooling. They know, oh baby, because they can make that extra pass without a defender having a stick in the lane. There's more options to be made. A little tic-tac-toe, who's your daddy, what's he do? Like, you got to score in those opportunities. In the NHL, you can't pass those up, and Morgan Frost made a mistake when that chance occurred. And I might as well stick on the young guns here. Joel Farabee, they were talking about Joel Farabee and how much he wants to play the penalty kill. That cracks me the hell up. Now, here's a guy who is skilled, who can play on the power play, and he wants to play on the PK. I was a guy in my entire career who was never on the power play, always had to be on the PK, had to block shots, had to do the dirty work for the boys, get into the corner, chip it up, chip it out of the zone, dive head first, take a puck off the chin, whatever you needed to do, I had to do it on the PK. And I would have paid $1 million to be able to spend time on the power play. Here's a kid who can do the power play stuff, and he wants to be on the PK. Now, I respect the hell out of that. I know Alain Vigneault respects the hell out of that, but it's just so comical because it blows my mind coming from someone who never had the skill to actually be on the other side. In practice, I'm blocking shots. I'm doing everything I have to do to prove that I want to do it, right? It cracks me up that at the NHL level, here we have a young kid who's just getting into the league, and he's determined and wants to and has the will to be on the PK side. That is very rare, and you can't take it for granted, really. You just can't. So, the Flyers have the Ottawa Senators on Saturday. It's a good game to get back on track. You can't overlook it. They're not a great team. They're not a horrendous team. They find ways to win. They just beat Edmonton the other night, and I'm pissed because I had a parlay going and I needed Edmonton to win. They took a 1-0 lead. I'm thinking McDavid can totally score 7 goals on this team because that's just what he does, and somehow the Ottawa Senators pull away with a really big win. Here's the thing. The Flyers can't overlook them. With that being said, it's a game where they can do what they need to do and get a win, and if they win there, this loss doesn't taste as bad. It doesn't feel as bad. I totally walk away satisfied with how the team played and their work ethic and their determination throughout, really. I mean, they literally dominated the Coyotes for 57 minutes. And it's not as if those 3 minutes they took their foot off the gas and looked abysmal. It's just how the puck rolled in this one. Did Brian Elliott play a fantastic game? No, but when you really have a limited amount of shots, it's so hard to get adjusted in the game, and the Flyers scored 1 goal, and that was super late in the third period. I don't put it on Brian Elliott. I didn't think he had a stellar performance, but I definitely don't put it on him as if it's his fault. My point is, they did everything they could. You got to be satisfied with how they played. In terms of how it felt as a fan watching, I thought the game was kind of boring because they score a couple minutes into the game and it's just the Flyers getting in the zone, throwing pucks on net. It wasn't as if the entire game the Flyers had these obnoxious chances. There were times where the game was just going back and forth through the neutral zone and no one really had any mojo. But when there was mojo to be had after that first goal, it was all Flyers. But it wasn't very entertaining. It was sort of a snooze fest because at times there wasn't much going on. But as the game progressed and later into the game, and specifically that second period when the Flyers had the power plays and late in the third where the Flyers came in waves, that's really when the Flyers put it on. They just couldn't execute, and then you got to tip your cap to the netminder who just played a fantastic game. We've been on the other side when Carter Hart came up clutch and made these saves that could be on top 10 Sports Center, top 10 plays, right? We've seen that multiple times this season. Even Brian Elliott did that. So when it happens to you, you shake it off, and then you beat your next opponent. That's going to be Ottawa. That's going to be a 1 o'clock game, so let's see how they respond. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe. I will see you next time.